Hello, I'm Ivan. I'm a Venezuelan to been learning languages for 4 years, and because of this, my life changed completely. Currently, I'm in a 6 months challenge to learn German and basically get as fluent as I can. But this wouldn't be possible if I were that guy. That guy was like the support, video games, a lot of things, and now I'm this guy.
Hello, so these are 3 tasks that you can do before starting your BIG language immersion session. Oh my god. So the first one that I do the most is reading aloud. And I read aloud in English in order to improve my articulation of English. And you can say, okay, like, but you have already good enough articulation, or you have this, or you have that. And I will say to you, well, more or less, but like I still not as like I don't like it as much. And so yeah, that's why I think there's a tool. Yeah, I don't know if you see it there, but like there's a tool in there. But like yeah, I read a lot because I like it. I like reading books from Brandon Sanderson, which is this very good guy in here, right? So first I read aloud for 2 hours in specific, and if you don't have a language, because I mean this will be really good, right? If you don't have a language in which you kind of have mastered, I'm not saying that I have mastered English. I'm saying that it's really easy compared to other languages. If you don't have a language that you have mastered, kind of, and you don't want to really read aloud because you don't find any author, then you can basically do what I'm doing right now with German too, which is you will graph 100 pieces of vocab, right? And basically those 100 pieces of vocab you will put them in Gemini, ChatGPT, whatever thing. Now you go to the AI, right? And what you will do is real simple. You will ask AI, can you create a story for me to study these 100 words after you study actually? So maybe you do the Minanki, and after doing the Minanki, you create a hundred. You create a story with those 100 words, and you say it. You say to the AI to be of 98% of comprehension. So this will be better if you have an entire list, and you do basically that entire list. So maybe you have like a thousand words to or 1,000 sentences. You grab those sentences, and then you say to AI, okay, make 10 stories with this 1,000 sentences and make them so it's 98% of comprehension based on these sentences because I know them, right? And you basically, since you have a story of 98% of comprehension, you read it aloud. And basically, by doing this, you start practicing the articulation on that language that you're learning. And it's actually pretty easy to read because now it's literally just 98% of comprehension. So that's something that I've been doing, and it's actually really cool. Yeah, it's actually really cool, honestly. Now, something that is way better, I feel, is if you can read while taking sunlight, which is something that I've been doing to a lot. So right now I'm recording videos and I take sunlight while I record videos, which is actually really cool. But if you can read also while taking sunlight, that is good. And if you can take like maybe 30 minutes of sunlight, I mean that is good. But like if you can take like 2 hours, that is actually way better. And I don't know why, but like I asked Gemini about the reason for why I like to read while taking sunlight. And basically, Gemini and ChatGPT said that it was because whenever you take sunlight, you your body generates serotonin, which is basically this hormone that helps you to be happier in life. And because of this, I basically started, I don't know, for some reason, doing reading aloud always whenever I'm here in my backyard, right? I just read aloud while I take some, like, what the fuck, there's a big beard in there. Well, that's the first task, right? Now, the second task is take a walk or meditate. And yeah, it sounds cliche, I know, right? But basically, by doing this, you regulate your nervous system, especially when if you take a walk. If you take a walk whenever you wake up, right, and it's just a walk of 20 minutes, you will regulate your nervous system. and your dopamine levels will get back to kind of normal. If you can take a walk of 1 hour, will be better. But still, if you don't like maybe a stretching or something like that, maybe you can take a walk. Or if you don't want to take a walk because maybe you don't want to prepare yourself to take the walk, who knows? What you can do is meditating. And whenever you meditate, you are basically training yourself to lose your focus and recover that focus. There's people who mistake meditating with entering Zen mode, and in this Zen mode thing, basically you lose your thoughts and you don't think about anything. No, I think that's wrong. It's not actually really wrong. It's just that you won't accomplish that by meditating for like 1 year. No, you accomplish that by meditating for 20 years. And even then, you accomplish that, you kind of like don't stop having thoughts. It's just that the amount of times that you lose your focus basically drastically decreases, right? So basically, that's what happens to meditation. You focus on something. I focus on my breath, on the inhalation and the exhalation, right? And after that, at some point you will lose your focus, and then and then basically you recover your focus. That's what you do, right? Simple enough. For this, you can use this application, which has guided meditations for you to learn how to meditate in the App Store and in the Play Store, which is basically a Medito. Medito is a very good application, which is totally free, and it's basically a foundation for all people to meditate for free, right? If you can, donate these people because they are really good. So the third task is stretching. So I stretch more or less 20 to 30 minutes a day, and I couple that with some exercises for my calves and also some exercises for my fingers. So I noticed that in calisthenics, my fingers are actually really weak. And because my fingers are actually really weak, I started training them. And I included that in my routine, my stretching first thing in the morning. And so basically, I do those exercises. I stretch while I listen to a podcast after I meditate, right? This is really important. You don't want to do anything after meditating, before meditating, usually, right? Because, like, whenever you start doing things before meditating, you put so much thoughts in your mind and you will be, like, literally way more distracted. Usually, actually, usually you are really distracted because you have lots of thinking in your lots of things in your life. So let's say that you're in college and you're talking with three girls, well then, literally you're going to be talking about, you're going to be thinking about those three girls and how good a time you had or not with those three girls, right? Usually it is, that's what happens, and that's why you have so much thoughts, especially when, I don't know, maybe you are on a deadline of some test or something like that, and because of that, you start uh, losing your focus because you start thinking about your test, right? Well, that's why you usually lose your focus so much because you are thinking about lots of things, especially when you watch lots of TikTok, when you watch lots of social media in general. You start thinking about the girl that you watch on social media. You start thinking about the um, guy that you're seeing playing on a video game. You start thinking about this post on Reddit. You start thinking about, and you have literally 1,000 thoughts, right? That's why you can actually focus whenever you are studying a language, right? Or whenever you are studying in general. That's why you can't focus, right? So have that in mind too. So I actually got out of the script, right? Kind of. So a stretch, yes, a stretch after meditating, and I basically listen to a podcast in German. The podcast is about dating. If you want to know, uh, well, which podcast it is Donjon Verfuet, Donjon Verfuet, I think it's pronounced, and it's actually really good. Yeah, it's actually really good. And I've been watching that for well over a couple of 2 to 3 months, more or less, and it has been actually really helpful for me to actually learn German because it's something on my interest. But yeah, just stretch, read a lot, or take a walk, or meditate. Those are actually 4 tasks that you can do before you start your big immersion session, your big study session, in which you are going to actually be concentrated. And these 4 tasks are for you to either get more motivated to do your big study session, or regulate your nervous system in order for you to basically get more concentration during your immersion study session, language session, whatever. So that's it for the video. Bye.